I ngā mana, i ngā reo, i ngā karanga maha o te motu, tēnā koutou, o tira tēnā tātou katoa. Me mihi tuatahi ki tō tātanei kaihanga nāna te timatanga te whakamutunga o ngā mea katoa, kia whai kororia mātai ki tōna ingoa tapu. O tira, ka huri ngā whakaro kia rātou, i raro i te pare kawakawa o te motu. Koutou mā e noho ana i tēnei mea te matenga, koutou mā oki, koutou e moi. Huri anō kia tata te hungora, tātou e taunei ki runga i tēnei o tō tātanei papāho kōrero, nau mai, piki mai, hara mai. Kia ora everyone, and welcome to Thankful Thursday. It has been a very long week since 2 weeks actually, because last week we didn't have it. We had a tangihana in town, so I had to go and do that. But in saying that, our guest tonight, he is an amazing young man that continues to help and support his whānau, and also helps build this character of not only te whakapono or faith, but also te taha Māori, and merging these two elements together to form this beautiful thing of aroha. And in saying that, I'll let him talk tonight, because he's actually flying for him and his. Oh, sorry, I won't say it yet, but he will probably introduce that part of it. But they're up in Auckland, flying back home down to Pōneke, to Porirua. So I've got them on the wire right now, before they head back down to their kāinga. But I will bring our rangatira of the hour to the forefront. E te rangatira, tēnā koe, Nika.
Tēnā koe takatuakana, iwi o tira. Tēnā koutou.
He mihi tēnei ki a koe. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe kua taimai ki tēnei o tō tātanei hōtaka. Mōhio pai au, kei tāmaki nui honu koe. So a big thank you for joining us at the airport and being here on the show tonight. But Nika, there's a whole heap of things that you associate to, but first of all, korero mai, ko ai koe e no whea koe.
Kia ora, tēnā koe, e te tuakana i e nā mihi, koutai na maikiringa ki au. E mihi ana ki tā tātou huinga i tēnei pō. Ko ai au, ko maunga pōhatu te maunga, ko tauranga te awa, ko tamakai moana, ko tūhoi ngā iwi, i pakeke mai au i roto o te urewera, ki te waimana kāku, ko Nika Rua tōku ingoa, e noho nei ki te whanganui ātara i tēnei wā. Ai.
Tēnā koe, ngā mihi nui mō tēnā. I know that you are a busy man, but it was a beautiful surprise to a couple of weeks or 3 weeks ago, maybe, that to see your beautiful announcement, and I nearly let it out of the bag straight away. But e te tuakana, actually, you're my tuakana i te pōnei, because you know, this is a status part of the thing that What was this huge announcement that you I whakapāho koe ki a mātou i ngā wiki kua pahure ake nei?
Kai te tika hoki, nōku te whiwhi. So I asked my wahine I asked my wahine to marry me.
Yes.
So I proposed to her a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, she said yes. Then we were just overwhelmed with all the well wishes and all the messages from all over the country. It was a huge thing.
Well, you know, it's a beautiful thing that you and your soulmate have made that decision to get married, and and rightfully so. And you both are beautiful people and continue to be with each other. Especially around this COVID stuff. It was so, and I want to talk about COVID because it hit you really hard and your wahine really hard because you were stuck here up here in Rotorua, and she was still um, down in Wellington, eh?
Aye,
And so
aye.
you were, and then you weren't able. So korero mai, how was it? Like when you got COVID, how was it for you? Because it didn't look very nice at all.
Yeah, well, contracting COVID wasn't pretty at all. Um, so yeah, as you mentioned, I was in Rotorua. I travelled up from Wellington to Rotorua um, to a tangihana. Where I kaupapa e koreta e tāu te tangata te karo. But this particular pakeke of mine played a vital role in my life growing up, both him and his wife. Um, and it was my way of giving back to him and to the family. And I suppose me not honouring him in a way that yeah, that I could think the best way to honour him for everything that he's done in my life. Um, so I travelled um, up to Rotorua and travelled to the tangihana. No symptoms, had no cough, had no thing. But I think I was exposed, and in the airports is probably one of the biggest places where you're passing people from all over the country. And when I spoke with the Ministry of Health officials when we were doing the tracing side of things, we put it down to it was probably someone that I passed or that I met within the airport. Um, but to be honest, it didn't take long. Um,
Yeah.
Within 24 hours, I had symptoms. I had a runny nose, sore throat, but I didn't think of think of it. I just didn't
Yeah.
didn't phase me until I noticed it got worse. And it just so happened that I had red tests, went to my taraka and tested myself, and lo and behold, two bright red lines.
Oh, wow. And was it like quite an instant,
It was
like,
instant.
yeah,
The red tests say 15 minutes. I didn't even 1 minute. 1 minute, the red blood was very clear that I contracted COVID.
wow.
But the hardest part for me wasn't so much contracting COVID, but it was also thinking in that 24-hour space from being uh, non-symptomatic to symptomatic, the amount of pakeke that I mingled with in that time, that was the hard part because I had essentially exposed my elders to this ngangara. And the other thing was I was separated from my fiance, um,
That's a nice
which
word
was
to add, eh? Fiance.
and
Please, yeah.
that was hard. So it wasn't just catching COVID was hard, but it was also just being away. But I, I suppose I want to acknowledge how fast the Ministry of Health and Lakes DHB officials worked to provide that support for me. Um, and I know that it means a lot because the connections that I've had over the years in Rotorua, it was just perfect. So I look at the likes of Auntie Philly, Auntie Phyllis, who is working on the front line, and all our other whānau, Te Runanga Ngāti Piki Ao, Te Korowai Aroha, all our Māori PHOs and whatnot that are just absolutely working at the cold front, at the cold face of this pandemic, how they were just able to just set things up in place in a matter of a couple of hours. So
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up too, because it was during a time, and I think we need to put that thing out there, that it was during a time when the levels were just changing in regards to
Mm,
being a phase 3 of level red. And, there were all these things that were still happening at the same time. So not many people, or if any, people could go and support people in the hospitals due in that time framing. And I think that's one of the biggest things that was a little bit mumai when people saw people that were suffering from being a positive case of COVID and not being able to support people in there. Um, was that hard on you to handle, or because you had all these other, because you're from here, from Rotorua, or you've got affiliations to people here in Rotorua, did you feel secure enough to get well so that you could go and see your fiance um down in Porneke?
absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. Um, I was, yeah. I mean, everyone had played a part in ensuring that the necessary services were there. It was like work. I don't explain that any clear. It was just the level of service and you just yeah.
So did you spend
Because
the 2 weeks in there, like the 14 days in the hospital,
we
or?
were going through, so the government was going through was humming and hawing about changing the 10-day isolation period to 7 days, and
Yes, yeah.
I got to a point where um, I think I was already in isolation day 8, day 9. I think we had one more day and I was able to fly back to Wellington. But the day I got to day 10 isolation, the government had agreed to take it back to 7 days.
Oh, kia ora e te kāwanatanga, tēnā
Oh,
koe.
so, yeah.
Oh, but in saying that, at least it was 10 days and not the 14 or 30.
I
Um,
think one of the good things about isolation was it was totally necessary because as you know, some might know that I've had underlying health issues and have battled those over the years, and contracting COVID sort of it changed the whole playing field. So in the past, I've had heart problems and whatnot, and COVID really put a spoke in the works. Prior to contracting COVID, I was hearing stories about it's a flu, it's a cold, just a nasty cold. I really, I didn't think it was just a flu. I think it was much worse than that. Um, it got to the point where I couldn't breathe. I yeah, I couldn't walk. I couldn't breathe. I was just disabled. I was totally disabled. Um, so yeah, uh, yeah, it was a scary time, I suppose. It was hard, but I mean, as you know, he kaha, he iwi whakapono tātou, te iwi Māori, um, and I'm a practicing person, karakia person, and I I karakia every single day, and I thoroughly believe that it was my karakia that in my whakapono i roto I te wāhi ngaro,
I,
i toia mai au ki te whai au te ao Māori.
tika tau,
Um,
tika tau.
so yeah, he
You're
wāhi nui, wahanga nui tō te whakapono I
Yeah.
roto I taku hoki mai ki te ao o te ora.
You brought up awesome kaupapa too around the whakapono, because there's several people, not only yourself, but they had got COVID, but it was their faith or your faith that it brings you out of it. Like I'm thinking of Te Taipa, when he went through his journey,
Both
like
Te
yourself.
Taiapa and I were in hospital at the same
Yeah,
time.
same time. And
Yeah.
so you both had COVID, and you both you know whakapono is your fella's rongoa, I would say,
Mm.
for all of
Yeah.
us, even myself, that keeps us going. And that's another thing that I'm so thankful for, in regards to seeing both you, Te Taiapa, coming out of this situation to share your story. Because, COVID has had so many different stories and narratives in regards to um, and in regards to getting it and stuff, and you don't, and I'm positive that you don't wish upon it on anyone, even your
Absolutely. Yeah.
worst
Yeah.
enemies, And so a huge mihi to all of our health professionals work the front line, that we're there to support our whānau in that most
Mm.
vulnerable time where it was very isolated, and very clinical, I should say,
Yeah.
in that sense. But yeah, you're right. Whakapono does help us get through that. But yeah, I'm so glad that you're here, still here, Te Parata, to have a korero with me. We'll move away from COVID because that's getting a little bit too depressing. But yeah, I just got a message here from Kahira. She says, "Congratulations, Nika."
Kia ora kahira.
Which brings me into our next korero, because you talked about some of your underlying health issues and stuff, but you took part in this project called Tukaha, and this was what, nearly 10, 7, 9, 10 years ago or something,
Oh, it's a little while ago. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little while
Years back.
ago. And just share with us, very briefly, what was it all about?
So Tukaha was a fitness program that was televised, a televised fitness program as part of it was a segment on a program, I think it was called Tukaha,
Yep.
um, and they were like a morning, weekend morning show. Um, I really dip back to what now, but a little bit,
Oh,
but
okay.
not so much a kids audience as to yeah, yeah,
Yes.
but
But it was sort of like The Biggest Loser or something like that,
yes,
eh?
yeah,
It was like a
yeah. The Copa
competition.
Ball was the biggest loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, so between two kappa, or two kahui. Half one was the orange team, two kaha, and two hiringa. I think was the blue team.
Tukotahi?
Two kotai,
Tukotahi
sorry.
was
Yeah, two kotai was the orange team, and two
okay.
hiringa, which was kahidas in the team.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
And which one were you in?
I was in two kotahi. Now,
Okay.
um, I'm gonna make this clear. We may have lost all the other battles against two Hiringa because yeah, for various reasons. Um, but e mea no, the whakawhanaungatanga of that whole kaupapa was just second to none. Um, yeah, I mean, at the end, the competition was one had to lose, one had to win, one had to lose.
Yep.
But ki te titiro Māori, we all won.
Yep.
Hera i te mea, uh, yeah, i tā mihi a tētahi tira a te mea i kāri i tutuki, kāri i uki kōria. Um, yeah, just the whole whakawhanaungatanga throughout that
Yeah,
whole
you're right.
segment was just,
And that was the biggest part that I saw, was that you're right, is that the connectivity of every single person that participated in each ropu was next to none. And and it was, you could see it, it wasn't just about the exercises or losing the weight. It was a whole heap of things around your wairua, around being your friendships, and your friendships that you still have today. And I think that's one of the
absolutely.
biggest things that I have witnessed ever since that. And like, we're talking about years and years ago, Fano. So it was like The Biggest Loser. And yeah, Nick is right. One had to win and one had to lose. But at the end of the day, if you have a look in a Māori view, everyone was winners because you all participated. And then on the final weigh-in, oh my gosh, you were sick in hospital. Actually, you and I were. I think we were in hospital the same
Yeah.
time, and then you came from the hospital, went down to your weigh-in, and you still participated because you were a team player, you know. And so that was, to me, that showed a lot of heart, you know. And for somebody like yourself to go and do something like that is amazing. It's amazing. So he mihi tēnei ki a koe e te parata. You did an awesome kaupapa. You did better than me. I didn't even join, but I was watching from.
Absolutely. That kaupapa I've still got great memories today.
Yeah.
Of that kaupapa, and I see Kahira doing amazing mahi amongst our whānau and Te Ao Rua. I'm just thinking about Kahira as well. Some of the achievements she's made in her mahi. Lord knows I will not run from Rotorua to Hastings. But that goes to show, how pono, how tuturu she is to the kaupapa,
Well,
and how
that's
much
right.
she believes in their kaupapa.
Or even from Sydney to Auckland, from Auckland to Rotorua, you know, that leg or that time that she has. Yeah, no, she's an awesome lady, and even her whānau. And a he mihi tēnei kia rātou to the whānau, Uncle Leroy and them, that continue to
Absolutely.
help and support our whānau in these situations. All right, let's huri te waka. Um, I just wanted to talk to you about, you were one of the lead negotiators for your iwi and for your hapu in regards to the recognition of Rua Kīmana. How did you get involved with that?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was a choice. I think it. Yeah, to be quite honest, and now that my korero and my papa that they put me in, that encouraged me to do that mahi, I come to think about it, I don't think it was a choice.
I think you're
um,
right, because I think that's how we all get into these situations in our iwi and in our hapu. I think it's
Absolutely.
they just go, boy, you do this.
Yeah,
Is that what
and
happened to you?
we grew up
Yeah,
in a world you don't say no to your pakeke.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
say
You're so
yes.
right. No problem.
So I suppose the early stages, when we were kids, we went to the tribunal, Waitangi tribunal hearings, um, during Tuho's settlement process, and they went to Waimana. They had a tribunal hearing in Waimana at Tātai Atu, and I think there was one in Waiohau, at Waiohau Marae, I think, and then there was another one at Ruatoki, which was the famous when Tame shot the flag. So it was those were the tribunal hearings, and so I was still a young man at school, but we were, as part of our schooling, we got to listen to um, some of the historical narratives and some of the historical tribal accounts of what happened, some of the atrocities that were committed against Tūhoe and some of our pakeke. And so we were privy to a lot of their kōrero. And e harai te mea I puta noi hoi rā kōrero I ngā hui ngā traipūnara. Um, our pakeke shared those kōrero all the time. And so naturally, we grew up with those kōrero, that historical narrative, and I think it was just a matter of time. You just got to a point where ka riro mātou tērā kaupapa e kaua, because our pakeke got to a point where they said, okay, kua ea te taha kia mātou, ka waiho tēnei kawenga mā koutou mā ngā tamariki, e tutuki. And I just want to reference a kōrero, a quote from one of our pakeke from Maunga Pohatu, who was a kaitaki o Maunga Pohatu, koro Kaitawa Miki. And his quote, he quoted to Dr. Hirini Melbourne on his deathbed, saying, "Ko ki te ao, kaore he hara o te rua me ngā iwi o Maunga Pohatu. Aha kua rā, Kaore anō I hoki mai te karauna ki te uku I te riko te toto I maringi maunga pōhatu. Ko mahua mai tēnei āhuatanga mā koutou mā ngā tamariki hei whakatutuki e pai ai taku moe. So, you know, he said, the people, the world has come to know that the people of Maunga Pōhatu and Rua committed no wrong. There was only one crime that was committed at Maunga Pōhatu, and that was when the crown came and unleashed and caused blood to be spilled. Although the crown hasn't come back at that time, and hadn't come back to clean the spill of the blood and take responsibility of what happened there. I now pass this burden on to you, to my tamariki, to my mokopuni, to carry, so that I can rest in peace. So that korero, that quote was something that we used, was the founding, or was the tāhuhu, was our point of reference when it came to this mahi. Anaka ka tonoa mātou, ki te noho, ki te taho ngā Pākeke, ki te kohi I rā kōrero. And, you know, I think back to the Minister of Māori Development at the time, the Honourable Te Rua. He opened the door. He provided that opportunity, that chance for Maunga Pōhatu, Tamakai Moana, Te Hahi I Haraira, to rectify 100+ years of grief, of hurt, of... Oh, sorry, I'm just going to wave to my fiancée.
Yeah.
She's going to
No,
catch her
that's fine.
flight back to Pōneke. Have a safe trip. I'll see you back in Pōneke. Love you. Yeah, bye. Both on different flights.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, but thank you.
Yeah, so
Carry on.
So yeah, that quote was something that we always referenced when we were doing our mahi, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of people of our generation that are able to. You can take it.
You take this.
I've got no.
It's all right, carry on.
Sorry?
Don't me to, because they're too bulky.
That's right, I'll carry it. That's right. Sorry, I don't hold
It's all
my
right.
breath.
It's all good. I'm just thankful that you were still able to talk while your wahine is coaching her flight.
Yeah, so it was a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
A lot of it was commitment, the commitment, upholding the commitment that our pakeke had to their pakeke. And it was, it was an ongoing thing. And, I remember our aunties, our whare, Kirituia, who said, this raru stops at this generation. It can't go down to my mokopunas. E hara tēnei kaupapa I te kaupapa pai. E hara tēnei kaupapa I te kaupapa māma. Tukuna I te wā e toi tū ana, e tai kaha tonu ana tēnei whakareanga. Whakamoia I nā iane. Ka eke ana ki te apopo. Our apopo has a bright and better future. And so it was a huge honour and a huge privilege to assist my people. I don't use those words lead. Nā te mea e whakapono ana e harau I te rā tangata. I'm just merely a vessel or a device that allows that can help bring our people together and just assist our people, help our people to fulfill the dreams and aspirations of our pakeke.
What I liked about that whole scenario that you just talked about is that our pakeke saw the value in you as a young man that was able to support them in this process. And I think to be given an honour like that is the rangatira status that they saw within you. And because, we have to remember that you were still young at that point of time when they asked you to support them or help them through this process. And I think about the korero that you just said about heading in Melbourne and about our Pakeke, but it's the same narrative that different rohe have had to do for such a long time. And I'm thinking about at this point in time, moko moko over at Te
Te
Whakatō
kā,
here,
te
and
kā.
I'm thinking of we're here in Ngāti Tahu, Ngāti Whaua, around the awa of Rotokawa, and that area. So there's a whole heap of different things around the whole motu that, it takes people like yourself to have the initiative to support our Pākeke. And I take my hat off to you and to the rest of our whānau that continue to strive because our Pākeke need that extra bit of support in the stuff that they're doing. But yeah, he tino rangatira kaupapa kia hau
Can I
to see that sort of stuff happen in
can
our
I
community.
can I just say one more thing in regards to that and to um, the mahi we done for our pakeke. Um, I enjoyed every single moment I had with my pakeke. Um, after the royal ascent, after we were joined by the Governor General and our king, Kingi Tuheitia, o te tau te whirawhiro te tuawhitu, when he came to Maunga Pohatu in 2019 to celebrate the passing of that bill. I saw the face of my pakeke, and there was like a huge weight had been lifted off their shoulders, and just in a matter of months after the 2019 royal ascent, we lost about 6 of our pakeke in a short time, and it was overwhelming because I felt, and they said numerous times, ka ea me te nikua wā te mātou ki te haere. I said, kaua koutou e korero pēnā. Ka tūpāpaku ana koutou, e kore koutou e hoki mai. Nō reira, whakanuia te wā i nāia nei i a koutou e ora ana, e kaha ana. But that was the tone, that was the kōrero that they shared, it was that kōrero, that kōrero paitawa said, wai ho ngā koutou mā ngā tamai, kia pai hei taku moe. And, unbeknown to me, I didn't think they were going to take it literally.
Well, that's some of the things that we do get come across, and but I think it's so right. Kua ia, kua mutu te mamai, kua pā atu ki te tinana o ngā Pākeke ki mai tūkoi, o ki te maunga me ki.
What I have maintained since 2019 is, and with in my small encounters with government ministers and agencies and whatnot, and it's just kaupapa Māori, ka tūtaki ki ngā minita. I've always maintained to the minister, the Naya Mahita, when she was the minister, and now to the Honourable Willie Jackson. Kua tau, kua ea te wahanga kia Maunga Pohatu. Kua mutu kua ea nā mamai. Engari, kāre, e kore mātou wareware.
Wareware, tika tau.
Ka anga whakamua, ka anga ki te apoto, engari, e kore wareware tia. Ka noho e rā kōrero, hei kura ki te ao. E mōhio ai te tamaiti, tamakai moana. I ahu mai ia i ngā pungarehu, i ngā tāmea te kāwana, a te karauna. Kua eke nei tēnei wā. Kua tia ho nei, ko reia ngā uri ki ngā mihi nui, ki ngā whakaro nui. Ki ngā moe a, ki ngā wawata ki tūmana pohia e tō tātai te puna te rua i te wāhi aia. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of the mahi, at the end of the day, a lot of our mahi we couldn't have done without our people. So, the mihi that I'm receiving, it's just as important to send that back to our people because
Yeah,
me
you're so
kore
right.
ko taku iwi, ko aku hapu, ko aku karangatanga maha o te ao o tauranga o te urewera o tamakai moana, me kore ake ko rātou, ko kore au.
Tikatai. And I say that all the time in the stuff that I deal with on a daily. And you're right, you never forget. The pain and suffering has already been and gone, but you will never forget the pain and suffering that was inflicted on our iwi and our hapu during those times. Yes, we have come to agreement of what had happened and that you give apologies into that segment, but we will never forget at all
Yeah.
that mamae that still hurt our Pakeke to this day. And I think that's one of the other things too is that when our Pakeke give us a responsibility like that, we have to take it upon our own shoulders to carry the mana of our tupuna or the mana of our people with us every time we go. And the mahi that you had to go through for our whānau at Maunga Pohatu was showed that and this time that we can share in talking about that is a huge honor because not many people know this korero that we've just finished talking about. It was basically between you and your Pakeke, and then what we saw on TV was just the formal formalities around it. We didn't know the history or the research that you guys had to do to be able to put that at rest on that day. So I must acknowledge, yep, all the tira, everyone that had helped support that movement and to get into that space. Me hoki ngā whakaaro ki a rātou mā o tō koutou nei iwi o miki o te maunga o maunga pōhatu. E koutou mā I raro I te matenga o te era o tia wāhanga o te ao. E moi, oki oki e koutou, e moi. Yes, as we finish this segment off, I just had to acknowledge the whānau of who you were just talking about, of your Pākeke that passed away during this time frame, but at least they saw this journey through at the end. But e te parata, I know you still got a cup of tea break to get through to, and then you got to go rush and catch your plane. But I just want to say a big mihi, thank you very much for taking the time out to share this beautiful kōrero with us tonight. And like always, it's always nice to catch up with you. The last time I saw you I was doing a tangihana and you were just finishing at a
Driving.
tangihana. Yeah, driving past, and then you ended up in hospital that same time. So it was like, oh my gosh, the drive by, and then yeah, it was honestly literally the next day, and I saw your post saying that you were in hospital. I was like, I just saw you, like literally just saw you yesterday. But a huge mihi to you and to your fiance. Congratulations from all of us. And Pastor Tata says kia ora, Nika.
Oh, send my love to Pastor Tata and
I
to
will.
all the whānau at Maranatha.
I shall do that. They're all at I'm meant to be at a quiz night at the school, and I said, "Oh, I've got a hui with Nika tonight," and they said, "Oh, say hello to Nika," and Auntie Trina says, "Tell that boy, I love him."
Love you, Auntie Trina.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
uh, just hei whakakapinga noho māku e iwi. Tuatahi ake e whai whakaro atu anau ki tērā o tātou hāhi. And I just want to acknowledge the passing of Harerangi Meihana, who was the tūmuaki o te hāhi rātana.
aye.
He nui te iwi more who are scattered all over the country. And not to mention, not just te iwi mōrehu, but I also think about the connections that we have as te hāhi haraira. Nā tūtakinga o ngā poropiti Te Ao Māori, tahi pōtiki were mudātana kia rua kēnā tohu kākahi te whitiorongo mai a pera hamataoni wera tērā momo tērā momo karauki e hara like, he tangata rata engari e hara noi hoi te tangata.
Ai, tika.
Engari tērā momo tangata. So, e reia noho nei nā mihi ki runga ki te hahi rātana. Tira ki te pou, ki te tūmua ki te hahi rātana kākaro nei, te mokopuna o tahu pōtiki wirewu rātana. Hei te rāhoroi, hei a pōpō ka tarau atu ki Wanganui, ki te awa o Wanganui, mai pōneke, ka whakaeke ki runga ki te pāo rātana. So I just wanted to pay homage, as we were talking about the bro, te taiapa, te apōtoro. Me te iwi mōrehu e rongo nei, e taki nei ki tēnei tōtara haimata kāriro. O te rā, o tātou mate tāruru nui e taki nei runga i o tātou paraihuri i te motu. Nā mate o te kāinga, o te rā, nā mate o te arawa. E ki ana o tātou koeke, o tātou pākeke, ko ngā mate o te arawa, mā mātātu e tangi, ko ngā mate o mātātu mā te arawa e tangi, anei tātou e mihi nei, e taki nei ki o tātou maha, mate huhua o te wā. Ka hoki mai ki a koe, e te tuakana iwi. I tono mai ke tai au ki runga ki tēnei taumata korero. Nōku te waimaria. Ka rau te mohe o me he mea i whai hua e nei kōrero, engari he pahu rānei.
Koina te painga, koina te painga.
E mihi nui ana ki a koe e te tuakana. Ka pai te ki tātou tō kanu, te rongo i tō reo. Me taku mihi nui ki a koe i te nui o ngā mahi e pīkau hi ana e koe i rato o te ara. Nō te mihi nui ana. Hai tōna wāka noho tahi tātou ki tāura ki te kaputi.
Tika tai.
Ngari e mihi ana.
He mihi tēnei ki a koe e te parata. E kore ko koe, e kore tēnei hōtaka e taia. Koina. Engari, he tika ka mihi atu ki a tātou anō. But thank you, Nika, for being available tonight and having that time and space to have a kōrero. Look, we took up 45 minutes already, and you thought it was only going to be a small bit of kōrero, but that's how awesome our kōrero has been tonight. And I must, I must acknowledge the whānau of Murumurātana or at the pāta, ngā āporo, hurirone te motu, that are in this process at the moment of the tangihana. So he ai karere ngā whakaro ngā aroha ki a rātou. But to everyone watching tonight and those that will watch continuously for a whole year, because it will stay online for a whole year, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for being a part of this tonight. Tonight's kōrero was about, there's so many blessings and there's so many things to be thankful for in our lives. And it's people that we just spoke about today. Utilize this time, whānau, to share that aroha, to be kind, but also to start providing yourself with new direction of transformational change. Transformational change is basically what we just did tonight. It's about having a kōrero. It's about getting some of these awesome narratives out and out into our public arena so that we all can know some of the stuff that's been happening in our community. But in saying that, whānau, thank you very much from my whare ki konei ki Rotorua Nui, a kahumata momoi, to Nika, who's making his way back to his fiancée, down in Te Whanganuiatara. My bro, thank you so much for joining me tonight. E kore te aroha e mutu mō, mō korua meki. But yeah, thank you so much, and huge ups to the rest of your whānau that are so happy like we are. And when we all found out of your announcement, oh my gosh, Auntie Trina was like, "Oh, did you see? Did you see? Did you see?" I said, "I think the whole world saw." But yeah, it was amazing. It was just such an awesome. It was an awesome kaupapa to hear that you were getting married and that you proposed to her, and she said yes. Of course, she would have said yes. Who wouldn't? But yeah, thank you so much.
Actually,
Thank you. Oh yeah, what?
there was a there was a
Hesitant?
small part of me. I was like, please don't say no, because I didn't know how I
Oh,
would have handled that.
oh, you know what I was thinking? I was going, oh, why didn't he just do it live? You know, and go, will you marry me live? And then I was thinking, oh, what about if she said no? That would have been whakama. And so you know, delete, delete, delete. Oh, you know, all these sort of things. I was thinking that I was like, oh no, oh yeah. But yeah, no, we're so happy for you, my bro, and congratulations. And yeah, you both are beautiful people, and I thank you so much. And I thank you so much too for looking after you down there in Te Whanganui Atara, um, especially when kei konei tō kāinga noho me ki. But you spend most of your time down in Wellington anyway, so it was obvious that you were going to move down that way. But yes, I'm looking forward to my fry bread and my cup of tea with you, my bro. The next time I'm down there in Porirua. Nō reira, koutou mai e matakitaki nei, tēnā koutou I raro ngā manaakitanga tō tata nei kaihanga. Ah, kia pai o koutou nei pō tūrou hawaki. Ka kite tātou.